Hey guys, welcome back. DeFi, degens, drip, and farm for property. I'm your host, Drip Coach, dropping knowledge bombs on all Forex Shark related projects. And today's video, this is not clickbait. I think I have a viable opportunity, solution to what we're seeing right now in the markets. And I want to run that by you all, and preferably if you guys, for one, find any value in it, please get it out to as many people as possible so that we can get it in front of the powers that be, because in order to implement this, it does require Forex and the team. And number two, please also poke holes in this to find out how we can turn this into a solid bulletproof strategy, if indeed what I've come up with does have some holes. So I'm not saying by any means I am the authority on this or the smartest man in the room, but I do think I found a viable solution, and aptly named Drip Reservoir Dogs. So Reservoir Dogs, you don't know, is a movie, has absolutely nothing to do with drip or anything like that. Great movie though. And ironically, putting these together because this solution I'm coming up with involves dogs, involves the reservoir, and involves drip. So it's like a really catchy, perfect name. So let's dive into it. First up, we have this presentation. So I learned a long time ago, we don't categorize things that we come across as problems. These are actually opportunities. And that is what I'm highlighting here. So right now in the drip ecosystem, we have about 1.5 million drip in wallets. Max wallets are increasing every day. So right now with drip prices the way they are, it is very easy to create a max wallet, and that just kicks the can down the road in regards to sell pressure in the short term. Next, sell pressure in the bear market. Well, as we all know, this big issue unrolling right now with FTX, and there will be more contagion to come. So people are looking for, one, to pull capital out of the crypto market, as well as wanting to have some dry powder on the side. So there's not a lot of people looking to invest. So we're going to experience even more pressure on our drip ecosystem as the contagion and issues from not only crypto, but also from the major markets as well. Next, no incentives to buy drip. Basically piggybacking on that other one, right now there's not a lot of people to do enough buy pressure to offset the amount of sell pressure coming from the bear market and the max wallets and all that stuff. Next is the reservoir. I think this one is kind of self-explanatory. Not many people understand the reservoir, and there's no incentive to get into it. So therefore it's not being utilized as much as it could. And lastly is the tax vault is constantly being depleted. So there is the taxes being added from the drip USD farm, but that's only as people get in and out of the farm. And again, in a bear market, people are more likely to park their capital and not get those transactions to help us increase this. So these are opportunities where we can capitalize. Next, we have the solutions, most of which Forex is already well aware and is implementing. So this is not like something new to him. He is well aware of these opportunities within the ecosystem and is already mentioned time and time again about the things he will be bringing into the fray. So the 1.5 dripping wallets, that can be solved by the drip layer 2. We don't know much about it, but basically he said he wants to incentivize people to lock up drip. Ray has mentioned this as well. If there's some kind of lottery similar to maybe what Avarice was doing, but better, then people would not keep it in their wallets. They would put it back into the faucet, and that is exactly where we need it. We need it in the faucet and not pulled out somewhere else. Next, the max wallets, that's going to continue to happen. That's a feature, not a bug, but we need somewhere to put those max wallets, and that's where the animal farm comes in, as well as the borrow and lending that Forex is working on. So once there's no need to sell drip, then we don't have to worry about the sell pressure and the amount of max wallets being created. The bear market, well, the only solution for that is patience, right? We know that eventually things will get better, and if you listen to some of the an analyst, we're looking at 3 to 6 months before we bottom out, and then, you know, another year or so to climb back out of the bear market. Next, no drip buys. Well, that's where Scratchy, Dogs of Fortune, and the drip layer 2 come in. All of these will be incentives to buy back drip. And the res layer 2, that will also be an incentive to put BNB into the reservoir. And lastly, the tax vault being depleted, that will be fixed basically with all these other things coming into place. Just a quick message, please like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss another video. This helps bring brand awareness to the channel as well as all Forex Shark related projects. Thank you. Now, the absolute biggest obstacle to all this is time. The longer that these things take to implement, and we don't want to rush Forex, we want to have the most solid, secure items rolled out in a time frame that he thinks is necessary. But the longer that these things go on, obviously the more drip will continue to bleed out because of the issues that I just mentioned. So what my suggestion is how can we find something to actually essentially add some time to the time clock and cause basically a pump back in the drip price and create a price floor without any sell pressure. And that's what I believe I have come to in this video, and that can be done a lot faster than 3 months. But of course it does require an all hands on deck kind of support. So in a nutshell, my idea is creating a $5 drip exchange for dog token. What do I mean? So basically anyone that has drip in their wallet, or even that they pull out from the faucet, they will be able to exchange it for $5 value. So right now drip is at $2. So if you had one drip token, you would actually get a $5 equivalent, and that would be exchanged for dogs. So to get one dog at these prices, you would need basically 11 drip, right? Because I'm saying that drip would be a $5 exchange, right? And I'll explain how all this works. I picked $5 because that's just a nice round number, and we can actually support even higher, but 5 is just easy math. So it's going to be one drip equals $5 in the equivalent amount of dogs. So right now we have about 1.5 million drip. That USD value at the $2 price range right now is approximately $7.7 million. I'm sorry, at the dog value. So if you do the $5 and then you exchange that out, you would end up with about 7.7 million USD equivalent value. That would then create about 145,000 dogs. These dogs would be given to the people that have sacrificed their drip to this contract. So this contract needs to be a whitelisted contract in which there will be no 10% sending fee. Instead it'll be 5%. The reason I think 5%, I'll show you, explains on the next slide where this 5% goes. But this is bullish for people who already have drip in their wallets, because right now the only option is to take that drip and get a 10% tax by selling it, or get a 10% tax to deposit it. So this gives them an incentive, plus we're giving them a 2-to-1 ratio basically on their equivalent. So this is a very attractive place for people with drip in wallets, hence why I think this will work. Of that 5%, so that 5% that we get from the contract as a fee, we use that 5% and pair it with BNB from the existing dog crediting contract. I'm going to show you how much money is in there and how little this will actually take. So we take that 5% drip and then we deposit that into the reservoir. So pair it with the BNB, deposit into the reservoir. I'm going to explain all this in an actual spreadsheet, but I'm just going to give you the highlights. And all of this drip that gets sent goes directly to the tax vault. So that's something, again, Forex would have to do. So this contract would have to be whitelisted, so there's no fees. All of it gets sent to the tax vault minus 5%, and that 5% would get paired with BNB and then locked into the reservoir. All right, so here's the explainer. So all drip goes to the tax vault. That would give us about 1 point some odd million drip in the tax vault. If all of it went, 1.575 million drip in the tax vault. Dogs already have vesting in place, so there is no dump. And this is bullish for dogs in the future, because inevitably what people will do is they will sell their dogs later. But as Forex mentioned, he wants to reward the diamond hand holders. So you're giving people a place that want out, an opportunity to get out. And then those that believe in the future will keep their dogs, and they will be rewarded in the BNB. So we don't actually need to use the BNB that's in the contract. That was something Forex mentioned. He wanted to inject that into the dogs. Well, this becomes an auto dog injecting prophecy, basically, because you're giving people kind of free dogs, if you will, or giving them at a discount, and they're going to sell them, of course, in the future. And then that means that goes to the people that are still holding dogs in the dog pound. The contract creates a price floor arbitrage. So what do I mean by that? Meaning if we make the price of drip exchange at $5, well, that means you can now go to PancakeSwap and to the native DEX and buy drip. This will remove it from the circulating supply and pump up the price, because people would buy it from there and then sacrifice it to the contract to get the equivalent, because you're getting a premium basically all the way up until drip on the contract native DEX side is $5 and the BUSD side is $5. So you're basically creating kind of a liquidity floor for drip. This also extends the roadway for future development. So if we can remove all of that circulating supply, and then there's this $5 floor that gets put in kind of systemically based off of these other actions, then this gives Forex some leadway moving forward to develop and not have to really see drip bleed out and not hear the negative sentiment. I know he's not worried about that, but clearly the community is, and that just makes it much harder for us content creators as well as people looking at the chart. And if the chart is up and flatline, this could also kind of look like the liquidity management system that Ray talked about, in a way that the price is sustainable and flat and would go maybe below but bounce right back up due to arbitrage and maybe hang out there until these additional developments come through. This also only uses 6% of the contract BNB that's available in the wallet from the deployer wallet or from the crediting. And this can cause FOMO in a bear market. So imagine our token basically pumping 2.5x from where it is now, and then kind of holding out there until these new developments, and then springing off of that new $5 floor when these new projects get launched in January, February, March, whatever. That will definitely cause some additional FOMO, and that is, everybody knows, the best absolute marketing vehicle. A chart that goes up and to the right is way better than any AMA, any videos we can do. People looking at the chart, seeing the fundamentals, and seeing how drip is sustaining itself will basically provide all the marketing that we need. And then lastly, this is a lead in for dogs roulette. So all this, I know the negative side is basically where all these dogs coming from and what happens when they get dumped. Well, people can now play them in the dogs roulette because they kind of got them quote unquote for free. And dogs roulette has a 30% burning mechanism plus the opportunity to win the lottery. So it gives people an incentive to gamble and use dogs roulette because they think they got these dogs for free. Now let's look at the numbers. All right, so I pulled up the existing dogs crediting contract. There is 127,000 dogs, and then there's 19,000 Animal Farm dogs and BNB, the LPs basically. Remember, Forex said that these LPs were available because not everyone chose to get their crediting in LPs. So these LPs are available because the equivalent has already been given out in single asset dogs. So this was the free money basically that Forex was going to use to inject into the dog pound. And what I'm saying is don't waste that on the dog pound. Support the actual foundation of the ecosystem with just a portion of this, just a small portion. And then you can still have this BNB for other things. So that's what I'm showing here is the 8,610 BNB, which is an equivalent of $2.2 million at the $266 USD price. So here's what I was saying in regards to right now what we have in liquid drip is 1.54 million. If you take it at the current USD value of about $2, that's $3 million. If we raise it to the $5 floor, so again, exchanging every single one of these drip into a $5 equivalent tradable dog, whatever swap, I don't even know how to word that, but you hopefully understand what I'm saying. You get, for every one drip, you would get $5 worth of a dog, basically, right? So that's $7 million right now. And at the current price of dogs, so this is dogs market price, $53, it's 53 and some change. That basically comes out to 145,000 dogs that would have to be distributed, right? And then I said the contract itself can have a 5% tax. This way, it makes it still attractive for people to get in. Remember, the only other option right now, there's three options. They can sell their drip and take the cash. They can redeposit their drip, which is a 10% fee. The selling is a 10% fee. Or they have to sell some of it or come up with the equivalent of BUSD to put it into the drip BUSD farm. But all of those will require some kind of selling unless people have the equivalent to put into the farm. And since we haven't seen the 1.5 million come down that dramatically and get put into the farm, we can safely say that people are not looking to do that. So of that 5%, using that as a tax, we're not selling the drip. We just take 5% of the total drip that was deposited. And then that comes out to 154,000 equivalent USD. Or basically 77,000 total drip. So there's 77,000 total drip that we don't sell, don't do anything, don't send directly to the tax vault. That instead is kept. And then we use the B&B that's up here. The current reservoir drops is 98.914. Well, with another 580 B&B from this amount paired with this, we now add another 91 drops to the reservoir floor. That will double the actual lock liquidity in the reservoir, taking it from 25 cents to 50 cents. That will be the lock drop floor. But we will have paired these 77,000 drip tokens, right? And Forex, I think he said he burns that, or I'm not quite sure how that works, if he can send it directly to the reservoir, if he's got to do something else. But the point would be just using that 5%, and we're not selling anything at this stage. And lastly, this basically means that the balance left in the wallet is 8,000 BNB and 2 million USD. So there's still tons of rewards left for other things. And this gives us a $5 floor because, again, the community will buy back the drip off of the circulating supply, and it will stay there at that floor. Right now, the whales are helping us stay up and people are continuing to buy a little bit here and there, but I don't think they can maintain this till January, February, whenever Scratchy comes out, or layer 2 and all that. But by creating a system like this, where the system does the maintenance for us, then that means anybody that has liquid drip, anybody that wants to get out, anybody that's not happy or whatever, they have an opportunity to get out and get dogs, and then they can either just dump those dogs on the market if dogs go up, or they can wait for that 90% tax to go down, basically 90 days or so. And in that time frame, Forex will be building utility, and who knows, we might turn some of those fudders into evangelists. So who knows what can happen in that 90 days by basically giving people something to do with their drip, and then having an out for them, but them being able to see the things getting developed and the system or the ecosystem taking over, moving forward, all this other stuff. So I really think this is a solid opportunity. I urge you guys to, of course, poke holes in this. So here's the concerns that I came up with. Not everyone will take advantage. So that 1.57 million is not going to get locked up, but I think a bulk of it would, especially if we can even make this more attractive. Right now, this is a $5 floor. Imagine if you did 10, that's only, that would double. So it'd be 290,000 dogs needed. But again, there's no real downside to the dogs being minted out. So Forex can play with that. Lastly is we need to be able to mint the dogs token. So this has to be done sooner rather than later. I believe Forex has not burned the rights on the contract to mint dogs. That's still there. And this would need to be done in that case. And lastly, unknown unknowns. I don't know. That's why this needs to go up to Forex and the team and the developers. But I believe with everything we already have in place, this should be a relatively straightforward contract to create. And it could, I don't know how this works, but it could very well be some kind of permanent home on here called Reservoir Dogs or something like that, where it's an actual pool that's created for drip. Now, again, people in my comments mentioned this. We don't want to have drip on the farm, but we want a place where we can put the drip and the drip get put back into the tax vault. So the entire purpose of what I'm talking about is that all of this liquid drip goes back into the tax vault. And right now, people are not incentivized to buy drip, or they're not going to send it to the tax vault on their own. So we got to give them an incentive. So a $5 floor or even a $10 floor, with the higher the floor we create, the more bullish sentiment people will decide to lock up that drip, and the more people that will actually buy off the circulating supply off the floor to get that arbitrage. And the better the price, the market looks for our chart, everything else. So I really think this is a viable opportunity. I urge you all to, again, poke holes in it, send me some feedback. Please share this with other people in the community. The more people that look at it, the more eyes, the more feedback. And if there's an inkling of an idea here that can reach the ears of Forex and the team, then I think we will have a solution and this opportunity implemented to really extend the roadway of drip and the roadmap while Forex does what he needs to do in the background with hiring and teams and all this stuff. So hope this provided value. Sorry if it took so long, but this is was a lot to cover, and I wanted to make sure you guys understood the entire idea. And then again, also unpack it, provide some feedback, and let me know what you think. All right, guys, appreciate it. If it provided value, smash that HBO special. You know how I do. Help a brother out. And until next time, live daily and achieve your impossible. See ya.